And just like that, we're back.
A16, turn me up.
Welcome into episode 201 of the Views from Section 400 podcast. Today is August 21st, 2025. And Matt, the Washington Commanders might be in shambles.
You think so? Why would you say that?
Brian Robinson Jr., their star, can we call him a star?
I don't know that I think they have a very...
Their starting running back?
Their starting
maybe
running
is the
back.
correct term.
Their
He is on the
starting
trade
running
block.
back. Yeah, starting running back with the change of pace back in Austin Eckler. Yeah, I don't know what to think of this. It sounds like with Terry McLaurin situation going on, you'd want to keep as much talent. A guy who knows the offense well. He's been there, I think, his whole career, besides when he got shot. Weird move. I didn't hear much about this, but interesting that they would be looking to potentially get rid of him, and your replacement is Austin Eckler. I understand there is a guy rising up the fantasy football waiver wire, I guess you could call it. People stashing him late in rounds.
Yeah, it
tell us
depends
some
if
more
he's
about
drafted
that.
yet.
Yeah, tell us some more about that.
Bill Krosky Merritt, real name's Jacory, but apparently when he was a kid, he shaved his head and he looked like a little Bill from the TV show, which I believe was a Bill Cosby TV show. But we don't have to talk about that. Either way, they call him Bill. And he scored a touchdown Monday Night Football. Apparently, he's been impressing in training camp. And yeah, he's shooting up the draft boards. I think his ADP has gone up like 100 since July. But
yeah, we see guys like this every year, right? I mean, there's guys who jump out. They do really well in preseason. A lot of people are adding them. But it's all just projecting. It's all, I mean, nobody's inside the Commanders locker room, inside the team meetings. We don't know what this guy's going to be. I mean, where did he even get drafted? Where did he go to school? I never heard of this guy until a couple days ago.
He was at Arizona, and then he had some infraction with the NCAA, and then he went to New Mexico. And he
I did see that.
Drafted
he played 6 years at NCAA, right?
Yeah, he played a long time.
Yeah, he was there for a while. So I would, when in the past, I used to jump all over these reports and, guys are getting crazy looks. And sometimes it does. But I feel like for the most part, when you have these super low-key rookies, they don't always pan out as much as the hype is that they're getting in preseason. So I definitely wouldn't overdraft this guy. Him flying up, you said 100 spots in the ADP rankings, I think
it was 214, and I think now he's at like 120.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. End of drafts to like middle rounds.
Yeah, which is, I would pump the brakes. You know me and my draft strategy for the most part. I usually try and stick with guys who have been there, done that, consistent. Unless there's a glaring outright rookie that you just know is going to make an immediate impact. Guys like Bijan Robinson jump to mind. Saquon Barkley when he came out.
Maybe Genty this year.
A lot of people overdrafted on Marvin Harrison last year, and that didn't quite work out for him. So, going crazy on these rookies, especially a guy who wasn't getting drafted late, and now shooting up into, like you said, way higher in the ADP. I will let somebody else draft him most likely, and if he ends up being this all pro amazing running back, then I'm willing to eat that on the back end. But this is a move that I don't know can win you the league drafting him early, but I feel like could certainly cost you the league if he's not anywhere close to what these expectations are kind of being set.
Yeah, they also have not so fat Debo, who will get carries in the backfield, even though I think they said they don't want to give him as many.
Right.
I think the bigger headline here is Brian Robinson just may not be that good. And I know I kind of always make fun of Alabama whenever I can, but I think there is something to be said. And obviously there's guys that are super talented, like the Derrick Henrys of the world, and Mark Ingram did it for a while. But with Alabama coming out of college as a running back at Alabama, you're used to seeing these massive gaping holes because your offensive line is full of 5-star recruits. And all you got to do is hit the hole and then make a 150-pound safety miss or truck them. And we see that with a lot of these great college running backs that played in front of great college O-lines. Saw it with Trent Richardson coming out of Alabama, and that just may be what Brian Robinson was. Yeah. He was just physically dominant, so he could truck the second-level defenders after the first-level defenders got taken out by his offensive line. So I don't know if – I'm sure Bill Krosky Merritt's going to be good, but I think this might just say more about Brian Robinson being mid.
Yeah, maybe they like what they have in this little Bill guy. I'm sure he's not so little, but maybe they really like what they have. Austin Eckler, a veteran back, good change of pace back. We know what he can do. We saw it for years in the Chargers, and now with the Commanders, they like him as a 1B back, and they're like, hey, if Bill Merritt can be the guy we go to over Brian Robinson, then that's what maybe they're looking at doing. So I don't think Brian Robinson's necessarily a bad running back. I just think if they he was very serviceable in fantasy this year. And
yeah, he makes sense with Eckler and Debo back there. Like you could have a committee there. And without Brian Robinson, you don't really have that goal line back. You go to Chris Rodriguez,
right?
Who's like just a
there.
Practice squad level kind of player, but he's big.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know what to make of the reports, and I guess we'll wait and see what happens. I don't know what Brian Robinson's trade value is. Like running backs in general don't generate crazy trade value. I mean, what are you going to get? Like a 4th or 5th round pick for him, or are you going to trade for
more like 5th or 6th?
Yeah, a depth piece. I don't think. He's not on a contract. He's still on his rookie deal, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
I would just. I look, when you go to make these, especially in preseason, you have to evaluate, are you making the team better, right? You're going into the year, so you want to see how is the team going to be better? Like everybody has these high expectations. Us as fans, we know the teams are like, all right, this team's going to suck. All right, this team's going to be good. Like we can kind of feel that out. But for the most part, going into it, every owner, head coach, like they're going into it like, hey, we want to win, right? The optimism's high. It's August, training
Even
camp.
The Giants are doing that right now.
Even the Giants are doing that right now. Exactly. So I think trading Brian Robinson away, whatever you get in return, isn't going to make you a better team. And I could be wrong, but it just feels like whatever you get back for Brian Robinson doesn't make you a better football team. And that's just my opinion. And maybe they pull off a heist or do something, but I just don't know the value is there. And I think you get worse at the position by getting rid of him, and whatever comes back, like I said, doesn't make you better. But maybe I'm wrong.
The overarching my takeaway from this is just it's odd they spent the offseason upgrading the pieces around Jaden Daniels. And all we've heard from the Commanders in preseason is them not signing Terry McLaurin and now putting Brian Robinson on the trade block.
Doesn't make sense.
Two very contradicting things. Help your young quarterback.
Yeah, they're not giving him much help. And hey, look, our team's in the division. Giants, who knows what they'll do this year at Jackson Dart. Maybe they surprise some people because Jackson Dart can do something nice, get Malik Neighbors the football. But
if he plays.
If he plays, yeah.
Hasn't been on the field.
Yeah, which isn't good. But I don't know. It's kind of like a who cares headline in training camp to talk about it, just to talk about it. It's it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think the value back would justify moving a piece that knows the offense, started last year, was pretty productive fantasy wise. I know that might not mean jack shit in terms of like how he performs for the team or whatever, but I think run him, Bill Merritt, and Eckler, and if Merritt really takes off, you can trade Robinson midseason. You can let him go after the year. Like there's plenty of other things, and teams usually carry 3 running backs, 4 running backs, or whatever it is. So I just it's a weird headline to have come out after you've already been in the national media with Terry McLaurin why throw more gasoline on the media fire?
It doesn't make any sense. It's after a year where everything went right, training camp has kind of just gone all wrong for the Commanders. And I don't think their fans are ready to admit that either.
No, I think they're still it's interesting, right? Because they had a year that probably not even their fan base expected them to have, right? They just want to say, hey, Jaden Daniels, hopefully we can be competitive. If we miss the playoffs, that's fine. But if Jaden Daniels shows signs of life to bring back this franchise to the Joe Gibbs days of what, the 80s and the 90s, we will be happy. And they obviously overperformed, were way better than expected. And I
almost
think
went to the Super Bowl.
Almost went to the Super Bowl, exactly. I think there's not a Super Bowl hangover, but there's a NFC Championship hangover, if that's the right thing to call it. I think the fans are maybe still a little bit in that honeymoon stage of what they had last year. And again, I know you don't want to believe it because you're a Jaden Daniels super fan. I think the rookie QB into sophomore year slump is a real threat. And everything that's happened in the training camp doesn't point to a strong start to the season for the Washington Commanders. So everything just doesn't seem to be going the way they need it to be going right now. And they could struggle early and maybe all year.
If Terry McLaurin is not on the field for week 1, the Giants are going to beat the Commanders. And they could. Obviously, I'm biased there, but that pass rush against a receiving core that can't get open because their best receiver is not on the field, and Luke McCaffrey is going to be on the field for every snap, and he hasn't gotten open at all in preseason. Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau are going to eat on that defensive line. So they need to get Terry McLaurin back. I don't know what they're going to do with their running backs, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows in Washington.
No, it's definitely not. And I know we're going to jump through here, and we got our guy Steve coming on in just a little bit to get some US Open. Stay tuned. We should have him on shortly. Before we jump into the MLB, I know there's some interesting stuff to talk about. I don't know if we discussed the last show. I think the news broke early in the week. Indiana Jones, the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, announced before even the third preseason game, they want to solidify their starter. Brian, I mean, this is your guy who's trying to rejuvenate his career. By the way, after already making, $100 million or whatever he stole from the Giants. But trying to re-energize what everybody thought was a dead career.
Yeah, not that it was clever at all because it's right in front of you, but I will claim I was the first one to say Indiana Jones. I said it right when they signed him. And I saw PFT commentary a tweet after they announced it. So he's not listening to the show, but I just wanted to be known that I came up with that nickname and I'm sticking to it. I like Daniel Jones more than I like Anthony Richardson. I like Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren now more than I would have liked them if Anthony Richardson started. The Colts are just the Colts. They do this every year. They've had Matt Ryan. They've had Carson Wentz. They've had Phillip Rivers.
Joe Flacco.
They're just cycling. And I think Quentin Nelson came out today and said he's sick of not having that chemistry, consistency with the quarterback position. I mean, I don't blame him.
He did. He full-blown came out and I don't know who the shot would be directed at. Is that the GM? Is that the owner? Is that the head coach for who knows?
It could even be Anthony Richardson. I'm sure
Anthony Richardson himself for sucking.
They're not happy with him. He was a number 4 overall pick, and he hasn't gotten better.
Yeah, he's came out as a raw prospect, but kind of had all the strong arm, mobile, dual threat. Figured just, hey, if this guy could just adapt to the game and learn the offense, we might have something big here. And looking like a pretty big bust, to be honest. A top 5 pick with all that expectation really just hasn't been good at all. What I hate is what I see on Twitter or X and, people trying to pull the race bait or the race rage bait.
Oh, yeah, that's always going to be there.
Daniel Jones is white and that's why he's getting the job. It's no, you're just looking for something to clickbait farming, engagement farming, they like to call it, because you clearly haven't watched Anthony Richardson play football for the last 2 years. And sure, now they're behind closed doors in preseason, but he probably isn't getting better, and if anything is getting worse. He's had injury issues, and when he is on the field, he's not a good quarterback. So they bring in Daniel Jones, and maybe Jones is just better in training camp. Like, do people ever think that?
Yeah, I think at least from watching Daniel Jones for 6 years, he was my quarterback. 5 years. He was injured for a little bit in between, but he will do 4 or 5 things every game where you're like, oh, this guy, I see why they took him in the first round. Like, this guy could turn into something. We can win football games with this guy. Anthony Richardson, he'll do one where he'll throw a 70-yard pass down the field and complete it, and then he'll airmail a 5-yard out route 5 times. And you're like, all right, well, what are we doing? And then he'll take himself out of the game because he's tired after a scramble. Daniel Jones will at least show you, like, maybe we can fix this guy and wins the football games. You're not going to. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to fix Daniel Jones. You're going to lose football games with Daniel Jones. But with Anthony Richardson, at least right now in his career, there's no hope to win football games.
Do you have any faith in Daniel Jones to make the playoffs again?
See, yes, I do, but I know that's a problem. And I have like Stockholm syndrome with Daniel Jones at this point, because there's always that piece of me that's like, it's there. If he didn't trip on that 80-yard run against the Eagles, he's in and that's a touchdown. If Evan Ingram didn't drop that pass, they win another game against the Eagles. Like, there are moments he threads the needle against the Vikings in the playoffs. Like, Daniel Jones, it's there, and then he'll throw a pick to a linebacker with no receiver within 10 yards. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's Daniel Jones. So
yeah,
I can't really comment on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I get it. That must have been tough to root for all those years. And I know we're still trying to convince Jack that Trevor Lawrence is 2.0 Daniel Jones, but he's not quite there.
I saw, and I forget who tweeted it out, but someone had the list of all the Colts quarterbacks after Daniel Jones got named. They're like, yep, 2030, it'll be Trevor Lawrence. I was like, yeah, we're talking about him in the same conversation again.
Yeah, I mean, not to have the Lawrence Jones debate, but it is kind of coming up on that crunch time for Trevor Lawrence, right? And they have the 2 receivers for him. The running backs are there, and Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. I don't know what the defense looks like for the Jags this year, but in a very winnable division, he's coming in, should be healthy or healthy enough. New GM, new head coach, like, it's kind of now or never for Lawrence is what it feels like, at least from the outside looking in. I'm sure Jack will sing a different tune, but at least unbiased looking in on it, that's what it seems like.
I think he would agree with that, and this will be a real test to see if he listens to the shows when he's not here. But I did place a wager on the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the division. I think this is the year for the Jaguars. So we'll see. We'll see if he brings that up, and then we'll know if he listened this far in.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
There was some good value. I think it was like plus 190.
Yeah. Well, who's the favorite? The Texans?
The Texans were about even money.
About even money. Yeah, it's probably split between those two, right? If you had the
unless you believe in Indiana Jones.
I don't. What is it? Yeah, the Titans. That really is.
Cam Ward.
What a just poor division, man.
It's terrible.
That's so like, and all small markets, right? I mean, I guess Houston.
Yeah,
isn't a gigantic.
Houston's
market,
a pretty big
though.
city.
It is big. You're right. But I mean,
Nashville's growing.
Nashville's growing, but it's been a small market for a while.
Yeah, it's not really a football.
Indianapolis.
It's basketball city. They really don't care. Well, they do care about.
They do care about the Colts,
basketball.
But that's a small market. It's got to be.
Yeah.
And then Jacksonville. They just have it's the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Yeah, well, they could be maybe getting a real baseball team. We can move into our tough news for me, at least. I don't know how you feel about it, but we had Rob Manfred come on the Little League Classic and basically say they're going to expand, and that probably means realignment.
Yeah, I heard bits and pieces. I didn't listen to, because that guy just irritates me if I listen to him speak for too long. So I didn't listen to the entire segment, but I did hear murmurs about a potential expansion, realignment, and then giving the reason why, better for markets, better for viewership, better for fan appeal. sold the whole book to you in the 5 or whatever minutes he was on. But I'm not against expansion, but I think I'm against realignment. And I think solely because the new division that our teams would be put in would be the most toxic division in baseball. If you group up the Red Sox, Yankees,
Yeah.
Mets, and Phillies in one division, that is 4 hyper toxic fan bases to have in one division. And I hope they don't do that because that would just be a cesspool of toxicity.
Yeah, it's all the actual divisional realignment is hypothetical, but Manfred basically said without saying if they expand, and we are going to expand, we're going to have to realign.
They're going to have
And then
to.
everybody just kind of had like, oh, what can we make these divisions look like?
Right.
This has been kind of the trend with Manfred since they changed the schedule. It'll play your division less, where it's the NBA-ification of the MLB and of MLB. And I just don't understand why you would want to become the NBA when the NBA is losing popularity, losing viewership. And baseball is the one sport that's like still completely tied in tribal kind of geographical rivalry. And that's why people watch. Everybody watches because if you're a Phillies fan, you want to beat the Mets, you want to beat the Braves. If you're a Mets fan, same thing. Yankees, Red Sox. No one just really, unless you're sickos like us, just turns on like a 1:00 game on TBS between the Marlins and the Rays, and they're like, "Oh, I'll watch some baseball."
Right.
Where football, like that happens. Even basketball, that'll happen when people watch the highlights. Baseball, it's not like that. So to get rid of that, and to get rid of baseball was founded with the American League, National League. The best in each league, the best in each division plays the best in the other division, and then the best in each league plays the other one from the other league, and they clash for the World Series. When you're getting rid of divisions, you're getting rid of playing each other in the division, and you're getting rid of essentially the leagues, because it's going to turn into the Western Conference and Eastern Conference because of travel schedules, like he said. You get rid of that, you get rid of what makes baseball, at least in my opinion. And I know I'm like a history buff, and it's kind of like, I'm sure some people don't care, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you said. It makes us kind of, even though we're in our 20s, like the old men of the game, where we're against change and leave it as it is. I tend to agree, though. I don't think we need the division realignment. At least for in 100 years, when it doesn't matter and people are born and become fans of the game, and all they know is the new division. Sure, it'll be completely fine. But for us, it's like, hey, we do these teams and these divisions for the better half of 20 whatever years. We've been fans of the game, fans of our teams, and now it's just not going to feel right if we have to have all these other teams in divisions.
Yeah, and they've like tweaked divisions before. Like the Mets and the Cubs used to be big rivals in the East, but it's if you get rid of what it means to play in a division and do it like the NBA, where it's just the top 8 teams. We don't care about the division. Division championships don't matter. Baseball is great because it's like the Prem, like soccer, where you're playing your rivals for however many games, and then you play 162. It's a whole grind for the whole summer, and whoever has the best record of the division gets to represent that division in the playoffs to see which division did the best. And I know there's wild cards and everything, but that's essentially what baseball is, and that's right. what makes baseball different. And I know football kind of the same way, but I don't know. Rob Manfred, everything he does is wrong.
Yeah, everything he does is wrong. It does make it different. They did, add the extra wild card, whatever, a couple years ago, whenever it was. And I know people have their beef on. I always like the extra team in because the Phillies were always right on the edge, so it made it more fun for me. But it does kind of take, I guess, maybe not the integrity, but just the value of winning the division away a little bit. Because there is that bailout of a team that can get in. But I don't know, man. I think we're still a little ways away from getting to this point that Manfred is. I mean, think about it. There's nothing even in place. They don't have cities of where new teams are going to be. I know Nashville's been talked. Charlotte,
going to be one.
Nashville, Charlotte, Portland. I know they're pushing. there's nothing set in stone. So I think what would you say for the next 5 years we're safe, or how soon does this happen?
Yeah, well, knowing the state of just politics and trying to get stadiums like RFK, that should have been a slam dunk to get RFK back in DC, and that vote took way too long. So I can't imagine getting a full team and all the resources it takes to get a team to a city. So it may be like a decade, but I'm for expansion. Just make another division or add those teams to a division. There's no need for realignment, and I don't know.
There's no need for realignment, and
Also, a Charlotte team would not work. That people are psycho about the Braves down there. They're not leaving the Braves.
Yeah, it's interesting. It pulls Nashville, Charlotte. Adding teams means pulling viewership already away from a market, right? I mean, you just said it. They're hyper fans, super fans in Charlotte for the Braves, and you add a team there. And I'm sure it's not going to change all at once. Where some people are probably going to be like, yeah, hey, there's a team here, but I've been a Braves fan my whole life. I'm not changing.
Yeah, I mean, you still see it here in DC. There's a bunch of Orioles fans. Like, they're not going to be Nats fans. And I know the World Series helped, but
yeah, the World Series definitely helped. But I'm sure before that, it was probably like, people were like, I've been an Orioles fan my whole life. The Nationals were the Expos. And, but the winning a championship for sure will help.
Jump on the bandwagon there.
Yeah, keep the history in the past.
Yeah, I guess where else could they put a team? Maybe go back to Oakland?
No, yeah, I think Oakland's out of the question. We already have the Vegas Aces or the Vegas A's. Might as well just be called the Aces. Portland is a spot they're looking at.
Yeah, I guess you can. That would make traveling easier over there.
Do you put another team in Canada? Vancouver. You already have Toronto, Montreal. It's Vancouver would be the only thing out west I could think of. But I think
Edmonton, according to you, is in the Pacific Northwest, and our buddy Ben.
I don't think the market's there. I think Canada's fine with just the Blue Jays. The whole country rallies behind just the Blue Jays. So I think, it's not an attractive draw. Toronto's basically, I would say, an extension of the U.S. It's right there, and it's probably
an hour from Buffalo.
Probably the most U.S. city or U.S. alike city, and Canadians, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like it's the most U.S. like city out of all the major Canadian cities. But I think for logistical reasons and all that stuff, they'll just deal with one headache of having a team go back and forth, across an international border. But it's interesting. I don't know a lot of other major cities that could do for one, right? We talk Charlotte. Does Columbus make sense in Ohio? I'm not sure.
They got enough in Ohio.
Indiana, there's just nothing major there. Do you double up in a city and expand it in a city that's already pretty big? I don't know. What other major city? Chicago has two. LA has two. New York has two. Philadelphia is so diehard for their teams. I don't think you can put another pro team.
They used to have the A's there with the Phillies.
Yeah. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of, does Oklahoma City make sense? Does Oklahoma City make sense?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Thunder are doing pretty well. They're drawing well.
Thunder are doing pretty good. You already have
the Drillers.
Is that the Dodgers AAA team?
AAA or AA.
Yeah, the Dodgers have some stuff there. So,
or no, that's Tulsa.
Tulsa's, yeah. That is Tulsa. I don't know. Oklahoma City was something that's like, all right, I feel like they would like baseball out there.
Yeah, there are cities that can. I don't know.
Charlotte, Nashville, and Portland are the three names that seem to be getting thrown around the most, though.
I think that would make the most sense. That would ease the travel if you wanted to ease the travel. Dude, I already know the Braves are going to get put in a division with like the new Charlotte team, the Rays, and the Marlins. And they're going to win that division every year.
And they're just going to be lights out every year. And then I mean, dude, is it Mets, Phillies, Yankees, Red Sox? Like, is that our division?
Probably.
Where does
Gonna be a
Toronto
bloodbath.
go?
Toronto goes to the Central probably. Play the. Would they put the Guardians and the Reds in the same division though? See, it's all weird because like I don't know. I feel like
It would.
yeah. Then you could put the Pirates in there too. So I guess it would kind of make sense.
Yeah, you're kind of just keeping that division the same, right?
Yeah, I don't like the idea of the same city playing in the same division. Like that's another baseball just kind of relic.
Yeah,
The
that's a
team is
great
in the
point.
other league.
That's a great point, dude. Why would you have the Mets and the Yankees in the same division?
Yeah, like the whole reason the Mets exist is because the New York didn't have a NL team after the Dodgers and the Giants left. And they're like, well,
Right.
we need a new team for the National League.
Right?
Let's make the Mets. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. Luckily it's not a tomorrow problem. I think we
Yeah.
are 5+ years away from ever having to do this. So I guess we can enjoy while it lasts. You know, if expansion comes, hopefully it doesn't shake up the game we love.
I hope not. It would be crazy if the Mets and the Yankees get in the same division before Juan Soto's contract is over.
Yeah, it would be
Which
interesting.
could very well happen.
It could. I mean, he's still got what, 12 years left?
14.
14? Oh, it was a 15-year deal. Good Lord. Yeah, man, it'll be interesting, but we can not have to worry about that, and we have baseball playoffs kind of around the corner, so we have that to look forward to before we're dealing with expansion and realignment.
Yeah, we'll see. We have our Monday show next week, and then the Mets Philly series is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I believe.
I know it's coming up. I don't know.
I think Brandon Sproat may be making his major league debut for that Monday game, so that should go great. But that'll be like the first big series between us in this fall.
In this long divisional race, but we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next here. We'll see if we'll get a U.S. Open preview with Steve, or if we'll do a little U.S. Open preview by ourselves. But stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, it looks like our tennis insider is inside his bed. I think he's asleep, unfortunately. But the show must go on. So let's preview the final Grand Slam of the year. It's the U.S. Open right in the Mets' backyard in Queens, New York.
Yeah, man. It's always fun time of year because it's right when football's starting and we get kind of that last bit of what people like to call, I guess, the sports are dead in the summer. Kind of that last tournament that turns the page from summer sport to fall sport. So it'll be an interesting 2 weeks. Obviously runs through the Labor Day holiday, so you get that kind of extra day to enjoy the tournament. And as always, we'll take you through some sleepers we like, some long shots, and maybe some early upset picks. I know we had Steve for the last one, and he was the one really diving into some early upsets. I think he actually hit a couple as well. So Brian and I will at least try our best here to, hopefully maybe have one upset pick come to life, and maybe a long shot makes a run here in New York over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I also would like to say I am terrified Jack Draper will win this tournament. I don't think he has looked great. I wanted to get into it with Steve to see what he thought his form was like coming into this. But if the trends hold of me picking the future and then that player cashing the tournament after, Jack Draper is going to win this U.S. Open.
Yeah, I mean, if the trend holds and the pattern holds, Draper is your 2025 U.S. Open champion. If not, then I don't know who the heck's going to win this. It seems like we're potentially going to get Jannik Sinner versus Carlo Alcaraz for the third major in a row.
Yeah, third major in a row. And Sinner has 2 and Alcaraz has 1. So I feel like Carlos has to. I know he just beat Sinner in Cincinnati, but Sinner retired after 5 games. Wasn't really a. And is that a Masters 1000 event or?
It was just I think it's ATP Masters, maybe it's Masters 1000, but it's whenever you have those events, they like to call. I mean, it's a major without being a major. I think is the best way to put it. I mean, they got pretty much all the big guys in it, and the prize money is up there as well. So definitely a big tournament, definitely one they're trying to win, and the luck wasn't on Sinner's side. Whether he was, people will always speculate, was he actually sick? Was he actually hurt? Was he just down a lot? I think his birthday was around the time of that. Was he hungover from birthday celebrations? I don't know.
We know he is a drug guy, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was.
We could speculate a lot, but who knows? Maybe I don't know. It's weird to just have an illness. He looked fine, so I wonder what the issue was. But he did retire. Alcaraz won it. And the odds are pretty tight here, right? It's Sinner at plus 110 and Alcaraz at plus 150. The two clear, very heavy favorites in this tournament. Novak Djokovic comes in at third, plus 1,500. And then Brian, your guy, Jack Draper, right around plus 2,500. The American, Ben Shelton.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not too far down.
Plus 2,500 as well. And, the other American, Taylor Fritz, plus 3,000. That's kind of where the odds are for 3,000 and below. The next hike up is Daniil Medvedev at plus 6,500, who has had a very shaky year, to be completely honest with you, but is a guy who can do really well on the hard courts. So definitely not one to count out, but just based on his recent form, the way he's been trending, I don't know that I could go with Medvedev. But if I'm looking at the top 6 or so here, Sinner won the last one. I think Carlos Alcaraz at plus 150 would be the guy I'm backing on the hard courts for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, obviously I'm a Ben Shelton fan, so I'm going to place a wager on him. But I think, to his credit, he was very hot. He won in Toronto. I know that tournament didn't really have much of the top guys in it. I did beat Taylor Fritz in straight sets in the semis in that. But he lost kind of early in Cincinnati, and I think that honestly helped him because he was running on fumes, it looked like. He played a lot of tennis, so he got kind of a nice reset before this, and he's looked really, really good on the hard courts, and obviously that's where he played at Florida. That's where he played his whole life. So if there's a tournament he can win, I think he can actually give this one a good run. I don't know if he can beat an Alcaraz or a Sinner, but maybe he gets a good draw and he can find his way into the semis, and then who knows, anything could happen.
Yeah, I don't necessarily love Shelton to win this. I think, again, I talked about it with, was it Karen Khachanov in Wimbledon? Hey, I like him to make the quarterfinals. Did he make the semifinals? Maybe I said semifinals too. I can't remember if Khachanov.
I think did he lose to Fritz in the quarters?
I'm not sure. But
I think he might have lost to Fritz in the quarter.
Either way, Shelton's a guy who I would take to make a quarterfinal or a semifinal run. Maybe there's some value on Medvedev to make a semifinal run. But, I mean, just based on what we've seen for the last 2 tournaments and all summer, we just saw it at the ATP Masters event in Cincinnati. I get it, Sinner withdrew, retired mid-match, as they call it. It was still Sinner and Alcaraz who were battling it out for the title. These guys are just in their prime, man. So young. Some would even say maybe not even in their prime yet. They're 22, 23. I mean, that's how young these guys are. The modern medicine's too good. The recovery at that age is too quick. And the skill that they possess is too great for, I think, anybody else on the tour. It's Sinner and Alcaraz and then the rest of the field. So, bearing some crazy instance, this is just Sinner and Alcaraz again for me. And Sinner got the last one. So for me, it just teeters back and forth and Alcaraz gets this one. And that's the only logical way I can make sense of it.
Yeah, obviously now that we've had Steve on these, and I've gotten more into tennis as I gotten older. Like, I know all these guys, but growing up, I didn't really watch tennis, and it was Federer, it was Nadal, and then eventually Djokovic.
Right.
Now, I feel like kids that are like casuals of tennis are just going to learn to know the names Alcaraz and Sinner, because they're going to be there for the next 10, 15 years just at the top. And hopefully Ben Shelton or Taylor Fritz can be Joker and be that third option, but I don't think it'll happen. But those two guys are going to run the sport forever.
Yeah, Sinner and Alcaraz are going to be the two that run it. I don't think we'll get anything. I mean, Shelton and Fritz might be good, maybe. We always see the big time guys, Alcaraz or Sinner, misses 3 months because of an injury, or they miss a tournament because of an injury, and that's where it kind of opens the door for somebody to have, we'll call it a fluke win because the other guy's not in it, or who knows. But I think Fritz, we're at what his ceiling is. I don't think there's anything else that Fritz is going to do or can do that we haven't already seen before. I think Fritz has kind of hit his ceiling. I think Shelton is 80%, 90% at his ceiling. Maybe there's a little bit more that he hasn't shown yet that he can develop into, but I think we're getting pretty close to Shelton topping out on what his ceiling is as well. And regardless of where they are in that ceiling gauge that you want to talk about, it's miles below what Sinner and Alcaraz are. And that's kind of the main problem in rooting for these guys to be on that level is that they just are so far away in terms of pure talent of what the top two guys possess to what the rest of the field holds. And I firmly believe that. And it's not a knock on Shelton or Fritz. I mean, they really are great tennis players. It's just the other two are that much better.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's sad because I want Shelton to be up there, but
yeah, man, it's the U.S. Open. It's on U.S. soil. You want to have American pride. You want to it's like the second 4th of July holiday, right? We get 4th of July to show a lot of patriotism, nationalism, whatever you want to call it. And, Labor Day is celebrating America's workforce, labor force. And what's more American than hosting a major tournament every year in the U.S. Open at Arthur Ashe in Flushing, the Queens, whatever neighborhood they're in. Yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks that we don't have a pure dominant outright U.S. tennis player. Was Andre Agassi the last guy we had that was on that level? Andy Roddick was always good. I would put him on like the Fritz level. I think Roddick was better than Fritz, though. I think just because Roddick, I want to say, had a couple majors, and I don't know that Fritz has a major. I think Fritz has appeared in a major final, right? But I don't think
Djokovic in the U.S. Open 2 years ago.
Yeah, so he's made an appearance. As long as Alcaraz and Sinner exist, I think the door is shut on a major championship for Fritz and Shelton. And again, that's going to sound like hate. That's going to sound like if Fritz watches that, he's not gonna, he's gonna think I'm hating, and that's fine. But that's just my opinion on how much better the top two guys are. Like I've said multiple times here now.
Yeah, I think Taylor Fritz needs to bring back the bleached hair, do something different. But we do have a dominant, maybe dominant's the right word, but a very good American on the women's side in Coco Gauff. Would she have first round bow out in Wimbledon?
I think she did falter out. I mean, she was she might have, right after Sabalenka, like she was right there to, win the tournament. I mean, I want to say she had the second best odds. I mean, I'm looking at it here. You have, Iga Swiatek at plus 275, Sabalenka at plus 285, and Coco Gauff at plus 900. Sabalenka didn't get it done at Wimbledon. Her game only becomes that much powerful on the hard courts. How quick the serve's going to be, the return's going to be. A powerful player bodes very well on the hard courts. So I have no problem doubling down with the Sabalenka pick here. I mean, she's going to be really, really strong. I would take her here and in a couple months in January for the Australian Open, I would pick her as well. I think she's going to be dominant.
It feels like she's due too. She's had a couple just rough, a lot of unforced errors.
Yeah, she butchered Wimbledon. I think Iga should cruise for a little bit, but I think there's a lot more competition that can hang with Iga Swiatek, especially as they get later in the tournament. So I was actually kind of surprised to see Iga. I understand she won Wimbledon, but again, the court you're playing on, the surface does matter when it comes to tennis. And, seeing her as the outright favorite at plus 275 on the hard court, little shocked to see that. Again, maybe a run, but I do not see her winning this tournament outright. I love Sabalenka at plus 285.
All right. So, yeah, we're staying away from the favorite. I like that a lot. And also, they won last in Wimbledon, and they're the favorites to win these. Let's get someone else to win.
Yeah, I don't think well, you're talking about Iga, right? Because she won.
Gotcha. Yeah, Iga and Sinner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Sinner, I think rightfully so. I would just have him and Alcaraz as the same odds. I mean,
and they're essentially co-favorites.
It is plus 110 and plus 150, and the next guy's what? Plus Djokovic at plus 1500.
Yeah, 1500.
Look, you can call him a sleeper in himself just because of how long those odds are. I would love to see Djokovic get his 25th record holding 25th major title. I know he's been sitting and kind of stuck on 24 for a little while now. When was the last major Djokovic won?
Probably the U.S. Open where he beat Fritz.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks because he lost 2 years because tennis outlawed him. He refused to get
at least a year and
vaccine.
a half.
So he missed a couple major tournaments at least.
Because Australia was the season when he got the first one he couldn't play in.
Yeah, I mean, the I guess it's the ITF, International Tennis Federation, is who governs everything. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm not sure, but
that's why we need Steve.
Yeah, it is. But I think it
sounds right.
Who held them out, and he missed a couple majors, and where he probably would have grabbed that 25th. So he's only getting older. We see how his kind of 2 weeks is a long time to play a full match of tennis every other day. His body's going to start wearing. It already has, I think. We've seen a lot more injuries pop up with Djokovic, and it'll be interesting to see. At least on the woman, I know I stayed pretty chalky here, going Sabalenka, and then also with Alcaraz. Is there anybody long shot wise that you want to throw into the hat, Brian?
I'll go back to Amanda. She at final in Wimbledon, right? She made that run to the final.
Pretty embarrassing final, but she did make the final.
Yeah, she got double bageled.
Double bageled is not a great look.
But she'll be back out for revenge. I was surprised to see Naomi Osaka isn't that much of a long shot. She hasn't really had a great. I guess she made it to a final in Toronto.
Yeah, she's always there. I don't think whatchamacallit. I don't think if you're a big, heavily seeded player, she's not somebody you want to match up against in the first couple of rounds. But I think, maybe she makes her run, but I don't think she's plus 2,000. I'm not rolling the dice on that.
Yeah, I don't know how much I love that.
I'll put it this way: I'd rather take Madison Keys at plus 2,000 over Naomi Osaka at plus 2,000. I think Keys is as long as I think she's had some hamstring injuries, as long as the injuries don't flare up and bug her, I think she'd be completely fine. I think I'm done going to the Rybakina. Well, I mean, she just always is pretty strong, and then just seems to falter off and not do well. I'm interested to see how Clara Towson does. Plus 6,000 to win the tournament outright. Not sure that she actually will get it done. I think you'll see her maybe with some decent odds as the tournament goes along and some head-to-head matchups, depending on who she has to face off with. 22-year-old Danish girl, kind of burst onto the scene this year, kind of flying up the WTA rankings. And I think a player who's big, powerful, strong, still pretty young, but at plus 6,000, I'd love to see what some other props on her are. And again, could be some value in the head-to-head matchups as the tournament goes along. But kind of a player I have, if I have the whole field, I have an asterisk next to her name. I kind of want to see how she does in her first shot of kind of coming into a major tournament on some really good form.
Yeah, I might ride that with you. I mean, I always love the big numbers. I'll probably end up taking Emma Navarro and then get pissed off when she gets broke on her first service game of the tournament.
Yeah, that's not touching her. I think the longest odds where you'll actually have a shot to win, one is going to be on the women's side. And I really think it's Clara Towson at plus 6,000. Again, not saying that's going to hit, but I just think that's your best shot. And again, only 21, 22 years old, so definitely they're pricing in could get upset early factor. I mean, that's a lot of emotion in New York on the big stage. That's a big spot where the mental's got to be there for 2 weeks. But I think there's value there just because she's got the big serve. She's a bigger, I want to say maybe her archetype, prototype, whatever, her build is kind of like Sabalenka in terms of just being like big and powerful. But again, yeah, just plus 6,000 is some juicy odds on a player who has some pretty good form. 22 years old, 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Pretty tall for a girl.
From Gentofte Hospital, Hellerup, Denmark.
Yeah. So she's got that going for her.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll sprinkle
Same
on that.
build. Sabalenka, 6 feet tall as well.
All right. You might be onto something here.
Could be onto something. I mean, the big, powerful serve. And again, the mental's got to be there, but plus 6,000, I think, could be potential. Now, when you jump over to the men's side, it is impossible for me to bet on anything other than the top two guys in Yannick Sinner and Carlo Alcaraz. Draper, I think I got burnt on. Was it the French? I think I took him in the French, and then I faded him.
The left-handed serve on the clay.
Yeah, I see Kachanov plus 15,000. I don't like him to win outright, but I like him to make a run again. Kachanov on the hard court, I really like. Is Nick Kyrgios playing? I see him on the odds here.
I guess so. I thought he retired.
That's really interesting. Plus 15,000, a guy who grew up playing on the hard courts. Who knows what his training regimen looked like leading up to this tournament? But
he might have more rackets thrown in the first game than he does match wins in Wimbledon.
So I think he was supposed to be Naomi Osaka's mixed doubles partner, and he opted out. So he's not doing that. Maybe he's just all in for a singles run.
Yeah, there you go.
Which could be electric, dude.
What happened to Casper Ruud? I feel like he was high up there in the rankings, and he just has not had a good season.
He was a guy who is still young. I mean, I don't think you can write off the ticket just yet on the guy. I mean, what is he? 26. So, kind of stepping into his prime here. I think his issue is he's more of, and I could be wrong, I'm not 100% familiar with his game, but I think he's more of a finesse player. And, tennis is where you need to be really good at finesse, but also have the power. And I think you see some of these guys who can kind of wheel and deal their way around the ATP tour all year as finesse players and have some good runs here and there and do some nice things and win some smaller tournaments because of some things falling your way. But when you get to these majors, I think when you lack that outright power, it really, really does hurt you, especially on the hard court. So, to your question, what happened to him? I'm not sure anything necessarily did. I just think, again, he's a guy that can be a top 10, top 15, top player in the world. But his ceiling isn't going to be on the level of winning major championships.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I got like a burst of energy seeing Nick Kyrgios plus 15,000. Even if he doesn't win the tournament, I mean, it's worth throwing $5 on and just kind of following him.
FanDuel 25,000.
25,000 on FanDuel?
Yeah.
What are these bullshit odds on DraftKings?
I don't know. That's kind of crazy. That's a big
joke. That's a lot of value there.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
$10
me?
to win a quarter. Yeah, $10 to win 2,500.
Yeah, versus 10 to win 1,500. I mean, that you're throwing $1,000 in profit down the drain just on two different books. That's a joke.
That is crazy.
You can also, if you don't want to play Sinner or Alcaraz, you can play. I guess I thought it was like Sinner and Alcaraz versus the field. But the finalists, you can get Sinner versus Alcaraz is minus 110.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty decent value on that.
Seems like a decent value, but I'd rather just pick one or the other and get the plus money. I'm never going to take a tournament that has, whether it's March Madness and they have the 68 teams, or it's a tennis tournament where I think it's 128 enter the main draw is what they call it. I'm just never going to take something that's minus money. If I watch NASCAR and it's truck race or an Xfinity race, which is a little bit of a lower tier, still in the NASCAR umbrella, but not, it's like the minor leagues, I guess you could call it. And sometimes there'll be Cup Series drivers who will race in those and they'll be minus money. I'm just never taking that big of a field. Golf, same way. That big of a field and taking somebody that's, minus money, where I'm putting money down and not getting back at least equal or more back. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I just, when there's that much out there and that much, so many different variables can happen with that many teams, players, cars, whatever it is. I can't get behind taking something that's minus money when there's that much out there.
I completely agree. You can put $1 on a parlay with Nick the Lunatic and Clara Towson. $1 wins you 14,000.
Wow.
I think
why not?
Do it. It's $1.
Why not? I'm sure I have DraftKings DK credit that can at least I can put 95 cents on that.
Yeah.
At least
a third of a McChicken to win 14 grand?
Doing 14 sticks? Hell yeah. I'm all in on that.
I think we found our parlay for the US Open.
Well, we found our long shot parlay. I tell you, I got a new burst of energy seeing Nick the Lunatic. Love that nickname for him too. In the field, withdrawing from doubles.
He's
saying, no, I'm not playing multiple. I'm playing. I'll tell you what. That's a tricky guy to go up against if you got to play him in the first round. He hasn't played in who knows how long. He's not highly ranked. So he's going to get thrown in the middle of the draw. And he's going to come up against somebody who does not want to play him. And, that's going to be fun to watch. What are his odds to make? Can you look that up? I don't even know how you look it up. His odds to make the quarterfinals, make the semifinal. I mean, if they're giving you that odds,
but I think that might do it.
Nick Kyrgios, Clara Towson.
You heard it here first in section 400.
Mick Chicken to win 15 G's. Mick Chicken to win a mortgage.
There you go. The McChicken to the mortgage.
The McChicken mortgage for all the glory.
I think that'll do it for today. I know we're preparing to travel for our Bethany fantasy football trip. We're gonna have to film something. So we're gonna have to film something for the people during that.
Yeah, I'm sure, we'll get something going just to throw it up there so people can see we're still alive.
Yeah, but we'll be back on Tuesday, record Monday night. It'll still be me and Matt. Jack is on his own trip for fantasy football up in upstate New York, so he will not be here, but we'll be here on Monday, recap some preseason football, last week of preseason, and get ready for the real season, the real thing. We have football coming up.
We have football coming up, man. It's today as you're watching 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we get real football. Also this weekend, real college football. But
it's true.
Games might not be spectacular, but they count.
They do count. And Auburn Tigers in action next Friday. So big couple weeks ahead. But that's all for today. And stay tuned for a phenomenal football season.
Oh yeah, let's get it.